Hey guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be going over the Nokris Nightfall, which is coming up this week. One of the main things about this Nightfall is the fire pits. Acolytes are going to be throwing a lot of grenades really quick at you. What we're doing here is we're going to be going through a previous recording, and I'm going to talk about angles and what weapons I'm going to be using. I know someone was, hey man, how come you didn't like show us where the champions are? So we're gonna do it this way. So then you can kind of see exactly where the champions. Right off the bat, when it comes to shields, what I can think of here, there's a lot of arc shields, a lot of arc knights. There's a few solar shields. I think the wanted wizard has a solar shield, and even the two wizards in the main room aren't solar. It's mostly arc here. One of my favorite things to use here is the Warcliff coil. I love the Warcliff coil. It works really well. You get to kill things really quick, and even the final boss takes a lot of damage to the Warcliff coil. In this scenario, I ran a solar secondary and an unstoppable hand cannon. Why? Because it's going to be unstoppable enemies and barrier enemies in this particular strike. All right. So here I am. It is myself, Miss Wednesday, and Mr. Jinrai. In the first room, you're gonna have a few knights up top. There's going to be an unstoppable ogre on your right, and there he goes. He's coming up right here. So you have an unstoppable ogre, and after you kill the ogre, you have a barrier champion on the bottom left. Normally, you can tackle the barrier before the champion, but sometimes that champion likes to come up, so it's better to just prioritize and be ready for it. Also, keep an eye on those acolytes because their grenades are pretty wild. But as you can see here, after we got rid of the ogre, we worked on the knight. More than likely, you'll probably get a chance to work on the knight before you work on the ogre. Either way, just remember that there were two champions right off the bat. All right. Next section, there's going to be a few thralls coming down at you with a few knights. You know, if you have hive armaments, here's a perfect chance for you to just use your Warcliff to kind of kill everything. Or if you have a grenade, you can place it down. One of the recommendations when it comes to armor, especially if you have all the hive gear, hive armaments for sure, hive barrier, and then if you have repurposing, definitely use it. And if you have my video about repurposing, and if you haven't watched it yet, make sure you do. Repurpose does a lot more. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of arc shields that you're going to be taking off, and that is going to give you back your grenade. So there's plenty of things that you kind of want to have here. The cool thing about Warcliff is that if you run through a piece of ammo, as you can see here, it reloads your gun as well, right? So you can shoot a Warcliff and you see a heavy brick on the ground and you run through it, you can pick up another. All right. So far, we have seen two champions, and we're going to be going through this next section here. There's not that many enemies. There's a few cursor thralls, and there's a few shield knights coming at you. This should be pretty simple. You get through these guys really quick. Then once you get through these guys, you're going to have more arc shields coming up. You're going to have two arc knights coming up on that left side there. What I generally like to do is I like to Warcliff them right away so we can get them out of the way. Then you're going to have a few acolytes and two champion barriers coming up. And as you can see here, there are three acolytes, I believe, right? Three acolytes. Then you have the two barrier knights that you have to work on. Main focus, you might want to focus on one barrier knight first and then work on the other. As you can see there, I try to be greedy, and hence my death came in, you know. As a team, work together on the barrier knight and take them out one at a time, because usually one likes to back up, so you can kind of work on both separately. When it comes to barrier weapons, I'm probably going to be using either my AR, which is the ring and nail with armor piercing, or I'm going to be throwing on my death adder, which has mulligan and disruption break. Why am I using that one? Because generally in the first run with my friends, or if I'm running, especially if I'm running with Dimitri and Troll, one of them is probably going to have unstoppable covered. So for me, I can run mountaintop. Now, as you can see here, with this unstoppable ogre that comes out of this ground, it is smart to wait for the ogre to fully come out of the ground before you try to shoot him with the unstoppable shot. If you don't do that, you're not going to be able to stagger the ogre, and there's going to be a delay there. So after you kill those knights, there's an ogre that comes out, an unstoppable ogre. After you kill the ogre, there are 2 knights ahead that you want to work on. And usually a bunch of thralls do come out around the same time. So you kind of got to, you know, work your patience. If you have a bubble, put it down. If you have a tether out. This week, you're going to be able to use basically any subclass, really. Because when it comes to damage on Nokris, you can just use your weapons. You don't have to worry about like having a super. Now, don't get me wrong there. You can generally run maybe Nova Bomb. I feel like Chaos Freeze takes too long to do damage to this boss. You can run Well. And then if we go into Titan, you can run Bubble. You can run Bottom Tree Hammers if you wanted to. Another cool thing to run would be on the Hunter. You have Bottom Tree Void, of course. I don't think Nighthawk is worth it at all this week. Yeah, Bottom Tree Void Hunter would probably be the play. That room also has 1 champion that you have to go through. After that room, when we get down here, you have the Wanted Wizard. You could definitely let the wizard go away. I believe we kill it here. But yeah, you can definitely let the wizard go. And another cool thing about this room is you can kind of pace yourself and work it around. You can kill the 2 knights on the left first, and then go and kill the knights on the right. And one of the things that you have to watch out for are going to be those grenades that are coming in from those acolytes. They are very deadly. Those things basically kind of like stick onto you. All right. But as you can see there, Wizard is basically out of the play with Wallcliff, but I don't know if that's going to be the same case in a Grandmaster, because this is a Master. And the champions in the Master don't change from the champions in the Grandmaster. Only the difficulty and the day 1 modifier things kind of change. But here you go. Yeah, you take out the 2 knights from this side, you throw your orb, and then you work on the next side. There's also a Shrieker on that side, so always make sure to try to take out that Shrieker as well. And I would say the best thing, if you're in the fire team, try not to separate too much. Because if you separate and someone goes down, you're not going to be able to get them up. And another thing is, you do not want to take the open angle. Like that left side of the ogre, you do not want to take that side. You take that side, there's going to be a bunch of ads coming up. You might get sandwiched. So when you're going to the right side, I say go through the back. Like you see where Jin is at right now? It's almost like being sandwiched, because then he has enemies on his left and he has enemies on his right. This little area right here, I'm just not a huge fan of. But as you can see here, we got all 4 balls out. Then you do damage to the big guy. Once you take him out, you get on to the next one. So far, if we have to go through this, we have an unstoppable ogre at the beginning with a knight. So that's 2 champions right there. You go through the hallway, there's nothing there. As you drop down, there's going to be 2 barriers, so that makes it 4. Then after you kill the 2 barriers, there's the 4 knights, and when the 4 knights die, you have an unstoppable ogre, that makes it 5. Then there's 2 barriers after that, which makes it 7. Then when you drop down here, there's a barrier that makes it 8. And when you get into the final room, there are going to be 4 barriers at the beginning of the final room, which makes it 12. I believe that is all the champions for this, unless I'm going crazy, but that is not bad at all. I mean, if we compare this to like even Lake of Shadows, I believe had more champions than that. I'm not sure there. I feel like Lake definitely had more champions than that. Garden World definitely will have more champions than that. Corrupted had more champions than this. But yeah, here are the 4 final guys. You might want to work on them separately. If you do damage to some, they might move up. I like to use this pillar as an area of cover, so I can kind of work on one at a time. But yeah, normally when you kill one, 2 go up top, so then you can kind of work on the one that's at the bottom first, and you kind of wait for them to put up their shield, and then you team shot the shield, and the shield goes down, and you get to take it off. Now, a cool thing about this fight is that Nokris isn't too bad until you get to a certain like phase on Nokris. and most folks don't want to get there. You just want to do enough damage to kill Nokris, maybe within 2 or 3 breaks. Because if you get the Roman Nokris around, that might be really annoying. But remember, this room isn't that bad. All right, this room is just thralls, then knights, then throw the ball. And the thing is, at the beginning, there's always 2 acolytes that show up with the knights. So my focus is going to be this in this final room here. Focus is going to be acolyte, then thralls, if they come out, because you know thralls are going to be coming out from the main room. Or what you could do is have one person set to be killing those thralls, right? You can have one person just be up there. Maybe if you're not running Warcliff, maybe you run Anarchy. Place Anarchy down. All right. So once you get rid of thralls, a few acolytes come out. Take out the acolytes. After you take out the acolytes, take out the knight. Why do you want to take out acolytes? Because they like to fling a bunch of grenades at you, and those things are very deadly. Besides having high barrier armaments and high repurposing on, I would say if you can do this, have 2 concussive dampeners on, 1 solar resistance, and 2 major resistance mods on. That is going to help out a lot. That's what I'm going to be running, because there's going to be a lot of solar things in here. The arc damage coming from like the knights aren't going to be too bad. If you think about this too, a lot of the barriers that we have seen have like the solar gun. You know, I like to call that like the 1000 voice slash Lord of Wolves. Those things don't miss. But yeah, generally, if you can get Nokris of 2 phases, cool. If you don't, the next phase, like I said, is to work on thralls. And after thralls, you work on, after thralls, you work on acolytes. After acolytes, you kill knights, you pick up the ball, you throw it, and there you go. Strange Terrain Nightfall breakdown. Like I said, subclasses, you can kind of work with anything really. And in the subclass that I send a video, when it comes down to weapon choices, you can use this and Inaugural Divinity if you want to. There is a lot of arc shields, so Divinity could work out really well. But as you can see there, the strike isn't that long, and there's not that many champions. And I feel like if you have hive armaments, Warcliff is just going to be the play. It is a very, very, very awesome weapon, and I'm glad that I get to use it this week coming up. All right. I'd like to say thank you guys for watching this. I do appreciate you guys checking out my videos, which is pretty awesome. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.